Hello and welcome to NUFS. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
And we're here to talk about some movies. June is always like a rock solid month for movies. I don't think it's quite as good as July, personally. I mean, some of my favorite movies of all time come out in July. But June is always good. That's where you get your start. The start of your biggest summer tent poles. There's usually a Pixar movie released. And this year's no different. So, I mean, what are you looking forward to in the month of June besides hot weather and mosquitoes?
Well, just probably some of the same ones you are here. Some of the trailers that I'm kind of personally excited about what this one is. We got to finally, after rumors for so long, 28 years later. I'm kind of excited about that one myself. But this is kind of unusual because that'd probably be the big one, and not usually a horror movie this time of year that I'm excited about, but yeah, it's kind of a legacy horror.
Well, you get a horror movie every month. That's the specialty of the genre. It never quite goes away. It's usually biggest in October, but you get ones throughout the year.
True.
Lucky for you, I think the first one we're going to be taking a look at here is 28 years later. So let's go ahead and take a look at that trailer, and we'll talk about it.
Men go mad with watching them. To think of something different. Oh, my God, keep me from going lunatic.
Stay completely still.
Well, it's a legacy sequel, because obviously the first one came out in, 2002?
2002.
2002? I got a note here for it. It was 2002.
I believe it was a summer release, too.
Yes,
actually.
yeah, and it is reuniting the actor, the director and the writer of the first one, which Alex Garland has gone on to have a tremendous career directing his own films, and Danny Boyle hasn't made a great movie in 15 years.
Bold statement.
Is it though? Because his last great movie was probably 127 Hours. It came out in 2010, and since then, he's done some documentaries, some television, and the occasional mediocre film. I mean, I didn't see Trainspotting 2.
Which also would be a legacy sequel.
Yeah, I saw Trainspotting 1, and I never want to watch anything about that. I mean, it was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but oh God, that baby on the ceiling.
Oh boy, it's not usual. Well, he was a big name director for quite a while.
Oh, for sure.
And actually, it was about the time that the original 28 Days Later came out that he got really, really big attention for what he did, because that was a huge achievement at the time.
I mean, it was shot on essentially consumer-grade technology at the time. They shot on mini DV using Canon prosumer camcorders, essentially. One
of the first big digital movies there, and they used it for basically because they could remove people. That's what one main thing was. A lot of science fiction films, or they use special effects. They like to try to add stuff. They were no, we're going to delete stuff from the scene, and it looked good. And that was kind of the big thing that Boyle did to us. But he had a great career following that, and he did ultimately get an Oscar for when he did Slumdog Millionaire, exactly, in 2008. That was and. Of course, you mentioned Trainspotting. There's a lot of classics there. And then, of course, 127 Hours. Yes. Yeah, he's a big name. We can't dismiss that. And the fact
my personal favorite is Sunshine.
Sunshine's a pretty good one.
And it's one of those films that I think, in my opinion, is 2/3 of one of the best movies ever. Because the first 2/3 of that movie are great. The last third, I feel kind of runs off the trail. And whether that was my first indication that he's not going to be some giant, but then again, it's one of my favorite films, so clearly it works.
Clearly it works somehow.
Yeah.
But now the question is, are we excited for this third
I would
installment
have
with
been
him?
excited.
I am. I'm really excited because they've been rumoring this movie for quite some time.
Yeah, when they first rumored it, I would have been excited. Now it's been
a little bit too late.
10 years since that was.
Well, the funny part is,
time.
of course, the mechanics of the titles have been. It starts with days, then it was weeks. Now they're jumping to years. We skipped months. Maybe we should have had months. That would have helped.
Perhaps.
But the funny thing is, it's although it isn't quite technically 28 years later. The first one only came out in 2002. So so they're jumping ahead, but they want to just keep that 28 part of it going there. But that's. I'll live with it. But I gotta say, this trailer got me really excited just because they have that song that I've never heard before that is so subtly creepy. that ticking over and over again to really get the point across. And it's if that's I'm impressed with the trailer, so I'm kind of optimistic just if they knew what they were kind of doing there.
I, for one, do not love Aaron Taylor Johnson as a lead. I love him as a supporting actor, and I think he really works in character roles. I think he's super bland and uninteresting when he's a lead. Don't get me wrong; he may prove me wrong at some point.
Not an unpopular opinion,
but he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, we'll see here. But again, got Ray Fiennes in there.
I mean, it's got a good cast.
He's in there, so I'm pretty optimistic. I'm just curious what they're gonna do with it, because the thing some people forget is 28 Days Later was the movie that brought zombies back and made them popular and scary again after being gone for a while. And we've had so many zombie stuff since then. We're getting another one now. Here, they're the people who originated it.
Yeah.
And I'm just so curious what they're gonna do here, and I'm excited to check it out and see if we get anything. What are they gonna push the envelope with this time?
I'm cautiously optimistic, but I have no great hopes. I probably will see it because I think the first movie is one of the best horror movies ever made. I put it up there with Alien.
No, you're right. It is. It's terrifying. It's so good the way they did it. And the only other thing I'll say is the sequel, 28 Weeks Later. When I first came, I was like, well, it's okay. It's not the first movie. That was my thought.
Yeah.
That movie has aged better with time.
Well, I mean,
I would argue
the point of these films is not necessarily the zombies. It's what man does, not necessarily what the zombie does. That is the interesting part of the film.
Which is why I think the sequel kind of went better, because one of the things that people pointed out is the sequel got way more popular and way more liked after we went through the pandemic. Because when you look at the response, like people are like, well, why are they doing that? Why this is how you shouldn't be behaving that way in a pandemic.
Yeah. But part of that could have been just the fact that it was almost impossible to find the first one on digital streaming until recently because of the rights issues between Fox and Sony. They basically buried that movie for like 8 to 10 years where you just could not find it if you didn't have a physical copy of it already. Which is a shame because, again, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
You can find it now, but for a while it was like... I went to go show it to my kids like 2 years ago.
You've actually showed your kids?
Not yet. It's terrifying. Not yet. But, they love horror movies, and all they want to do is watch horror movies. We watched Jeepers Creepers this weekend.
Man.
But I've been like, 28 Days Later is one of the best ones. Yeah. And I just couldn't find it until recently. So I'm going to show it to them soon. They haven't seen it yet.
Wonderful. Well, that's maybe something to look into. But it's a good time to we'll have a tight trilogy now here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Except they're going to make another one. From what I understand, there's going to be another one.
I did hear that, and I'm like, I don't know that I want part 4 because I don't know what the naming convention is then.
Clay. We've been over this. Studios like money.
I know they do. But I'm like, and I'm kind of fine with it in this case because we need. I feel we did need the third installment to figure this out, especially how they ended the second one, almost a cliffhanger too.
Yeah.
So it's like you promised this one, you're finally delivering. Thank you, but. We're really gonna. I don't know.
I will
that
note,
makes me nervous.
As a callback, it seems that they have shot this entirely on iPhones, or at least mostly on iPhones.
Looks like they did. Yeah.
So they're going back to using that prosumer technology to sort of translate the medium and make it more grounded, which we'll see how effective it is in this one. I think it really added an element to the original, but
it really did. Well, it was in your face because it was like really realistic. You're running, they're running, the camera's shaking. It's just some of that early shaky cams. Element there, but it works when you're being chased by the zombies.
And I think the quality degradation in the film certainly helped translate the spirit of the post-apocalyptic world that they were living in.
Yeah, it did.
We'll see how it works with iPhones.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Okay, so I think we're going to move on to the next one here, which is a little bit lighter in tone. This is Pixar's latest offering, which I'm really actually quite excited for because I love Aliens. And I love Pixar,
yes,
so they just scanned my brain. We're gonna make a movie for Mike here. So let's take a look at the trailer for Elio right here.
You need to meet people, make friends. Your life isn't up there, Elio. It's down here.
You okay?
I'm trying to get abducted. By aliens. There's a sign I'm supposed to be up there. This mole is the exact shape of the Orion Nebula.
I think you should have that looked at.
Yes! I knew it!
I am Questa, leader of GOM.
Elix, leader of Aluvinum.
And you're the leader of?
Earth?
Hear that, everyone? It's the leader of our Earth.
This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
This is the bathroom.
See us waving from such great heights. Come down now.
9-year-old me watching TV on a Saturday morning on like one of the weird channels in the 60s that was the local broadcast, catching a movie from the 80s where teenage kids or little kids go get abducted by aliens and have sweet adventures.
Yep.
I mean, like that was my jam when I was growing up. So seeing this is really exciting.
I mean, yeah, part of me was just wondering, are you sure this is just your life story? You didn't try to get abducted?
No, unfortunately, I saw the movie Fire in the Sky at a very impressionable age, so I was never attempting to be abducted.
Okay. Well, it was just a cute idea to me to go, yeah, this seems right up Mike's alley.
Yeah.
They're gonna be perfect for you.
Yeah.
And it is kind of cute. The thing that kind of makes me curious about this is because this seems exactly like the kind of movie, just the plot and everything, just with someone trying to be abducted by aliens would be perfect for someone in the 90s. I'm surprised we didn't get this movie earlier, with a kid's film. But maybe my gut is it's the after those kids who were like Elio, who grew up and wrote the plot, and that's why
I looked at the writers and directors of it, and they're all like 88 to 95,
that's when they were born. Yeah, so
there are people. They're making films for us.
These are the kids who grew up watching Fire in the Sky.
Yeah,
who watched the X-Files.
Yeah,
who watched
exactly.
all those other
Iron Giant.
I'm not even talking the paranormal news stories.
Oh yeah,
like sightings.
What was that? Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction?
Yeah. Or even occasional unsolved mysteries.
Mm-hmm. Unsolved mysteries.
So I'm thinking that's where the idea that this one came from. It's just, so it almost feels like a '90s throwback, even though it is using the modern animation style. There.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that it's an original piece.
Yes.
They haven't done this one before. They're not kind of ripping
Pixar
up
has been intermittently extremely reliable. I mean, I'm still excited for the next Pixar movie. I haven't loved all of their movies. I think maybe of their last couple, Coco is my favorite, and that's almost 10 years old now. And that, I liked Turning Red. I liked Luca a lot. I wasn't as big a fan of Encanto. What was that? Pixar or Disney though? That was Disney, right? Yeah. Okay. So there's a difference there.
This is a Pixar Disney combo here. I saw there on the header, but
it's harder to tell them apart.
It is at this point. They have so many people who are they just share back and forth.
Yes.
Resources.
Yeah.
And their average, audience member probably doesn't care either way. It's just we're getting a fun, good cartoon that's original.
Yes.
It's not anything that we've seen before, but.
I'd say generally we can rely on Pixar to have the more original movies when they're not doing their direct sequels to their legacy films like Cars or Toy Story.
Well, we were just talking about last time. We were getting a live action adaptation of Lilo and Stitch, which is out now.
Yes.
And part of me is like, wait a minute.
We'll touch on that later.
We will, but wait a minute. Part of this is like, wait, this is almost in the vein of Lilo and Stitch. When you think about it, because it's an alien again, and it's a young kid with the aliens here. It's going the other way, where the kid's being abducted to the aliens. But I almost feel like that was intentional. Like they're doing a 1-2 punch here. It's like we're gonna bring back this one from, and I do know the early 2000s there, but then we're gonna have this other one that's kind of inspired by it. So it's like different.
Flight of the Phoenix or the Voyagers or
it's kind of like although it's an original enough plot that we can't say they're copying them.
Well, no. I mean, all art is derivative, though. Yes, you can be inspired by classics and
I think that's where
them.
they're going. I think this one is being inspired by just that '90s era love of all things aliens and
Independence Day.
Exactly. Which of course was one of the biggest summer blockbusters of all time. But I'm also even just thinking about earlier this year we had Looney Tunes The Day Earth Blew Up, which is gonna call back to aliens. Love that, and maybe we're just in a renaissance where we need more alien movies.
I'm fine with that. As many more as we can. My kids love the aliens too, so we gotta get because I'm running out of movies to show them.
But we're going back to getting those cute aliens.
That's fine.
So
I like cute aliens.
We'll get the cute alien stories back, and So we're pretty, I'd say, yeah, I'm optimistic about this one. This will be a fun one. We'll find out if this one becomes a classic that they have to do a live action remake of.
Honestly, I'm hopefully yes, because I'm usually the pessimist, but I this is just so up my alley that I have to love it.
Yeah,
I'd be a total hypocrite if I didn't.
No, of course.
All right, well, we'll take a look at the next one that Steven insisted we take a look at here. This one is Life of Chuck. We'll take a look at this.
I am wonderful.
When you look up at the night sky, it can tell you stuff about your future. It won't lie to you. It's pure that way. You might see a lot more than you wanted. But if you have heart, you have hope. And you have heart in you.
The world, Chuck. Everything you've ever loved. Everything you see. Every year that you live, that world will get bigger and brighter. And more detailed and complex. You fill the whole thing. It'll be a universe. Isn't that wonderful?
Now, I'm not as big a Stephen King guy as Stephen is, but I enjoy the films. I haven't read many of the books, but I'm just noticing right away that they list none of his horror movies, and it's still a list of bangers. Like, Stephen King is a great writer. So I'm immediately sold just on that notion.
Yeah.
But then you attach Mike Flanagan, who is just single-handedly one of the best working filmmakers right now. I'm a little biased because I got to meet him at one point.
Really?
Yeah. Steven and I met him when we were in college because he came to when he did his first feature, he came to our school and talked to everybody.
I'm so envious now.
Yeah. No, he was just a young guy at the time.
Can't believe you kept this from me. I'll tell my story in a little bit, but this is bad. But I pretty much everything that you just said, I agree with. It caught me there. I don't know this Stephen King story. I have not read this one.
Neither.
I have no idea what it's about. I'm even from the trailer, I'm still a little guessing. I'm basically, just the title. It's about a guy named Chuck and his life.
Assuming his life,
and some of the stuff that happened with him, and he had some issues, but it seems to be mostly a positive, uplifting story, whatever this is. And they're referencing his non-horror stories that he wrote.
Which again, list of bangers.
It's important to go through them. Shawshank Redemption. Yep. Shawshank Redemption is a Stephen King story. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that because they didn't advertise it, but he wrote that. Yep. Also, Stand By Me, that's also Stephen King. And they're weirdly enough, they're both those stories in the same novella. They're in the same book.
Okay.
But then you also just have some of the other ones they listed there.
Green Mile.
The Green Mile, that's a classic. Yep. Yeah, we got that one. And Green Mile, of course, was directed by the same guy who directed Shawshank Redemption. So there's just so many other stories that he's done that people don't realize. Yeah, he doesn't always write the horror stories, and he can be very.
He's good at it, but yeah,
he's very good at it, and he tries to make it really popular because he feels more. King has a very love of the horror, and he feels it can be really strong, high art, but he could do the other stuff too. He can do a lot of those ones we just cited aren't necessarily Green Mile's fantasy, but the rest of them really not so much.
Pretty grounded.
And and that's another interesting thing about it. I don't know if this is fantasy, how much of this is fantasy.
I have no idea.
It looks like some of it is. Looks like we're going to have a musical number, so it might go in a weird fantasy number, which, I love it if they could.
I'm a fan of musical
Part of me
numbers.
almost wonders if it's the musical number is just built in, where it's not fantasy based. There's like a real world explanation for it. I'm hoping there is. It looks great, and they have a really, really strong cast there.
Great cast. I mean, you got Tom Hiddleston, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mark Hamill, Karen Gillian.
It's great. Yeah. And so this is just so exciting. But then the other thing we mentioned, of course, Mike Flanagan.
Yes,
he is fantastic. Like,
I can't even keep up with all the stuff he's producing, and I still think everything I've seen of his has been amazing.
He hasn't really had a miss. Like almost everything he does, he can just pick up. And in kind of like King, a lot of what he does is horror. He does tend to go that way.
The kids have been begging to watch Hush, and I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah, that one's pretty extreme. But even because he's done some, miniseries work with Netflix famously too, and his adaptation of Haunting of Hill House is amazing.
I watched that.
That is
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good, and he didn't even really follow the plot of the book. Really, he just went on his own thing, did his own modern adaptation. It's phenomenal.
Great.
And then he follows up with The Haunting of Bly Manor.
I didn't see that one yet.
It's pretty good. And then I even saw he did kind of his own original one where he just and I'm drawing a blank on it, but
Midnight Mass.
Yeah, Midnight Mass, which again I saw that one. That one blew my mind. And the thing about those, there are horror elements to all three of them, but there's more heart to them. Which was what I loved is when they said, when they brought up Mike Flanagan in there. I don't know if you noticed the title, from the heart and soul of him, because what Mike Flanagan does is he doesn't necessarily tell a horror story. He just does soul-crushing emotional journeys that will devastate you in so many different ways. And it's just like there's some scary stuff in there, but he's dealing with big things about loss and death.
I mean, the first movie that he made that we saw was called Absentia, and it was about a woman whose husband disappeared. And that was like the whole movie. But like there were horror elements involved, obviously, but it was
Billy Goat's Gruff.
Oh, it's Billy Goat's Gruff, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. But he knows what he's doing. And the other thing that should be mentioned, he's tackled King before. Flanagan directed Dr. Sleep, which is a sequel to The Shining. You shouldn't be able to do a sequel to The Shining.
No.
But he did, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Got Ewan McGregor in that one.
Oh, yes, it's so good. And again, it's the emotional thing. It's scary. There's some scary elements, but it gets you in the heart.
Well, you got to care about the characters.
You do, and he's so good at that. Yeah. He can take all these scripts and just make you. We have to watch them. We have to analyze them too. And the other cool thing is he brings along some of his other actors too. I mean, he got Mark Hamill in this one because he used Mark Hamill.
Mark is so underrated.
Yes,
he's such a good actor. It's almost criminal how he's been relegated to mostly voice work.
I know, but when he does come back and do that, he did narrate this. That's him open. So he's still doing some of the voice work because his voice sounds so good.
Yeah, he's just great. He's great. He just like delivers in such a spectacular fashion always.
So wonderful. And everything I keep hearing about this movie, and I've heard a lot. There's a lot of people talking about it.
I've heard almost nothing, except for that Steven told me that we have to do the trailer.
Well, he's right. This movie's gonna. I can't imagine it. It's too early to say, and again, I don't know enough about what even plot is, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that there could be some awards talk later on. I don't want to go too far here, but they're really aiming.
This is not usually the season for it.
I know it's not, but still, it's just because it's got such a good pedigree, really. And you can again say it's a Stephen King one, but it's one of those that gets you in the heart.
The heart ones.
So it's I'm really optimistic about this one. I'm sure I'll have to check it out too at some point. Yeah.
Well, we'll go from something dramatic and serious that Stephen recommended to something completely off the walls bonkers that he insisted that we watch. We'll take a look at the trailer for Megan 2.0 right here.
We're being hunted by a robot named Amelia. Megan's our only chance.
Prove you can be trusted, maybe we'll give you an upgrade. Any requests?
You better believe it, sister. I want to be stronger, faster, and taller. All right, meat sacks, let's get to work.
She is a smoking hot warrior princess.
Okay. So you saw the first one, right? I'll let you speak because I have no idea what's going on here.
Well, of course, the First, Megan, for those of you who don't know, it came out over a year ago, and it was actually, I believe, a January release when it initially came out. They're so confident in this one that they're bumping it up to, summer movie. But it was a, horror movie about this woman who worked in the toy industry, did a lot of robotic kind of stuff, and she basically had to adopt her niece after her sister and brother-in-law died in a car accident. So she was not planning to become a parent, but is now a parent to a young kid here, and they're trying to work something
Pretty
out.
Standard setup.
Yeah, and she gets the idea, she needs a companion here. Let's make an AI doll.
Beautiful.
What could possibly go wrong
Chef's
that can help her with this, that can educate and be like her emotional support thing? Wouldn't that be great? We'll become, this is a good idea, and I can help her and in what I'm doing in my job, my high-stakes career. And of course, because it's horror, the doll, which is named Megan, goes too far because it's a robot, and of course it's basically made of titanium and can kill you. So if the doll is doing it actually is trying to do its best. Let's protect the little girl. That's my friend. I'm programming. Yeah, but if someone's picking on that girl and not treating her right, what's the doll do? But let's be just becoming a vicious, efficient killing machine.
Beautiful.
And it's just a classic AI gone wrong. Like, oh, we really should have thought this over here. Well, this isn't quite working here. Which they tried to do with the Child's Play remake a few years earlier. But this time it really just... It gravitated.
It's like nobody reads Asimov's Rules of Robotics.
Just don't do that.
Yeah.
But the doll found ways around it. It was kind of clever and.
They did an Asimov too.
They pretty much did an Asimov. Yeah, they found a way to get around those rules, so that they were aware. And like, maybe we shouldn't do this. But it was just such a. The movie kind of worked well just because of the camp. Now it was good. I did see. I did praise it. They did a pretty good job with it.
It looks like it knows what it is.
It is. Well, there was a lot of humor, and they're going for camp to some extent with this too.
I could tell
more than just they're not trying to be too serious with it, but we knew there were going to be a sequel because they hinted at a sequel with how that first one ended here, but I'm not sure where they're going with it because they brought back basically the survivors of the previous movie. And it seems like they're going to do it again. Like, why?
I saw another trailer. The premise is essentially that the government stole the plans for the original robot and then accidentally created an assassin robot that's going around killing everybody that was involved in its creation, including the little girl and the original creator. So then they have to reboot Megan to defend them against the other other robot.
Well,
so it's like a Terminator 2 situation.
Well, maybe if you're going to steal from somebody, maybe steal from the best. Maybe it's not. That does sound cool because at least it's not the. Yeah, it's okay. I can accept that.
Yeah, no, it looks fun.
It looks fun. I'll accept it. You're okay. Allowed. I'll allow it. I'll probably catch this one too. It does look. The first one was fun enough, and it just clever enough that it's like we can definitely get.
I might have to watch the first one after seeing the trailer for this one because it looks so insane.
Well, it is, and there was just enough of how they do it, how the actual Megan character, which of course is robot artificial intelligence here, and they're using actual actors combined with some CGI and some other things to create the performance here. And it's so creepy, but it's supposed to be because it's
got that uncanny valley.
They're using the uncanny valley to their advantage. That's the point.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Alita Battle Angel. We'll keep picking on James Cameron here.
Yeah, in a way it is. It's just like that because she's supposed to be scary and creepy. And we're not supposed to like it, and that does it themselves, so they can get away with just the other CGI. The only other thing I'm kind of didn't really like about the first version of it, because the original Megan was PG-13. They did a horror movie that's PG-13. I didn't check here. I'm guessing they're probably going to try to carry that forward too, because they want to get those younger people in there to watch this stuff too, which kind of deflates some of it because it could be the first movie would have been way scarier if they had been allowed to go just a little bit further. But
well, there's a niche for certain markets. So I think PG-13 horror exists.
Maybe they would have gone.
And it used to be a lot more popular genre. Like there was a period where PG-13 horror was like a staple in the theaters, and not anymore because all of that mid-budget section has kind of disappeared, and that's where that lived along with comedy.
Although, I'd argue that's probably one of the reasons the original was so successful, though, too, because they could actually get a larger group of people to see it here.
Quite possibly.
But the fact that they're releasing this as a summer movie tells me that they really think they got something here. They didn't just drop it in January like the first one. They're like, we got something here. We know what we're doing.
Well, I mean, if the first one was a hit, and then, they're hoping the audience will return for this one.
I mean, I think...
Maybe some new audience,
If
too.
they go full on like they did with Terminator 2 and say, you know what, less scary, more action, maybe that's the correct path.
Could be.
That might be what they're doing here, and I can't really fault them for doing that. It would be certainly entertaining.
I mean, they don't have James Cameron at the helm, though.
No,
so we'll
they
see.
don't. But again, you just steal from the best.
Steal from the best.
You steal from Cameron.
Why would you steal from the worst?
It's something that's been coming up a lot lately.
Yeah.
Let's borrow that.
All right, well, we'll take a look at our last. I think this is our last one for the month here. We have two more. I'm sorry. Right. I'm jumping the gun here.
That's fine.
We're going to take a look at the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon.
When you carry this axe, you carry all of us with you.
Dad, I can't kill dragons.
But you will. I'm a Viking. I'm a Viking!
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
They did it again. I mean, it's literally the same director and writer. It's the same movie.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I can tell, in every trailer, in every shot, and everything that I've seen, it's the same movie.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love the first one.
Yes, I do.
So I'll probably watch this just because I love it so much. But, like, I'm not excited for it. I could just go home and watch the cartoon. It's on.
Why not? It's already there. You don't have to go to the theater and get only overpriced popcorn and everything else.
I mean, yeah, that's...
You can just stay home and watch it. And again, it's something we've discussed again. It's the live-action version of it. Like, no, that dragon's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon. It's the same cartoon. It's the same
You haven't
cartoon.
changed it. You haven't updated it at all. And even some of the backgrounds there, I'm pretty sure, are CGI too.
Yeah.
So you got a couple live-action actors who I will say, they cast this to really look like the cartoons. They did a good job there. But it's just... No, you
know what this is, right? Money.
Oh yeah, no question. I'm just. It was only a matter of time which one of us said it first.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is they can't make a How to Train Your Dragons 4. They don't know how to do that.
Yep.
So they're like, I guess we'll just reboot the whole franchise here and start over again. Because if this is a success, I'm sure they'll do the second one.
Oh, they've already started shooting the second one.
Which is just like, no, don't allow this. Come on. And it's just, I would tolerate. The idea of these live action remakes, this isn't new. This has been around forever, But I wouldn't mind it so much if the live action remake was like bringing something new or different to it and reinterpreting it slightly new. But that's not what they're doing here. It's almost a shot by shot.
They literally have the same director.
There's nothing in there that is of interest, and we've been getting way too many of these lately.
There's going to be a twist where the dragon kills everybody at the end.
Yeah, if they were to do something that made it like stand out, like I'm sure that's the thing is I'm sure there will be a slight deviation.
I'm sure, yeah.
There will be something that they do that they update that they make different here that they'll reference.
As long
something.
as they bring the score back, which it sounds like they will, I'll be fine because that's just one of the best scores of the past 20 years.
But and I just think about some of these other live action remakes we've had lately that didn't just completely. And if we're gonna even go Dragon, Pete's Dragon.
I loved Pete's Dragon.
We got a live action remake of Pete's Dragon a few years ago that everyone loved.
I loved it.
It wasn't just a complete remake.
And it's a lesser known film to begin with. Yeah. Like, it's not one of the biggest films of the year 15 years ago. Exactly. It was like an obscure movie that wasn't that popular from the 60s. Like, I don't even know when the original was from.
Yeah, right. I think you're right.
It was 70s? It was from the 70s.
That's the thing.
It's Dark Ages, people.
That one was legitimately popular. People did like it. It's got very good critical reviews, and you can watch that now because it's probably really well available.
And it had the cheat code that is Carl Urban in it.
Exactly.
So.
Totally.
Talk about Epic Universe.
I'm going to get Steven has a theory that it's all an advertisement for the Epic Universe theme park because they're opening the Epic Universe I think it was last week, and now this movie's coming out in 2 weeks or whatever.
Probably.
They're just corporate synergy.
Yeah, exactly. Get these things going. We get some of that fat cash here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is it'll probably work because they want to see another dragon. Part of me is wondering though if this will kind of blow up in their face where the kid. Well, you have a lot of kids like, yay, another dragon, and they say, but this is the same movie, and then they feel like they've been, they feel I could happen where it's like, but
kids don't care about that. They'll watch the same story over and over.
Yeah, Steven's right. I can confirm this as my kids have watched every episode of Bluey 45,000 times. Mm-hmm. To the point where if I see...
Well, they'll watch the same story over and over again, but will they... It's like, but we have this one already that we've watched over and over again.
They don't care, Clay. They just don't care.
Well, will that Well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't matter if it translates.
The only hope you have is that the parents are like, I'm not going to pay to see that. We got it at home. Yeah. Which not every single person is a curmudgeonly jerk who knows too much about movies like I am.
True. They might not realize what's happened there. But
yeah, there's no shot I'm taking my kids to see this one. Sorry, Universal.
Oh, you're going to hold them back. Yeah, but I think even the people who, the adults who have the nostalgia for the first one, who maybe were kids when they saw it and are grown up now, I don't think they're going to be that happy with it.
I don't think they have kids. If
they might not. You're right. They probably don't.
If you were 10, you don't have kids old enough to see this one. I was 20 when How to Train Your Dragon came out, and my kids are most of them are old enough.
I guess, yeah, I'm just trying to talk myself into being optimistic that this might finally curb the trend where I'm hoping. I'm just come on, where it's
they're just trying to drive revenue to the dark universe or whatever at Universal Studios. It's all it is.
I know.
Even if this movie flops, they'll still make money on ticket sales to the theme park.
I'm just.
You got to think about the corporate mechanics.
I know, that's the problem.
Abandon your soul, Clay.
I know you're right. That's the sad part. But I'm just hoping maybe this time, maybe the audience will figure that we can get someone.
They will not.
You don't have faith in the audience?
Realize first of all, there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to be the same movie. It's going to be fine.
That's the problem.
It's going to be fine. Just think about it as a re-release. They're just re-releasing How to Train Your Dragon into theaters in order to, advertise for their new theme park. We're just getting a slightly different re-release. Think of it as the 90s special edition Star Wars movies. That's all it is.
Well, at least they added
We're
new
seeing
scenes.
The special edition.
Are we going to get new scenes?
Maybe there'll be a bantha in the background jumping up and down. Or
someone's going to step on his tail.
There's going to be a dewback walking through with a guy combing the desert.
If we would at least even get that.
It's the 90s re-release, the special edition of Star Wars. That's what this is.
Special edition. At least added new scenes.
You're going to be complaining about this one for 20 years.
I don't know.
Everybody else.
I just feel that of all the live action remakes we've got of these cartoons, this is the most egregious one.
No, it's not.
I feel it is. I feel it really
is.
One. I do. Because we've had what we could go through the list. At least Lilo and Stitch, that was a while older film, and
23 years.
Yeah, and there was
and
it was
years.
2D animation, traditional.
Yep.
So when you're putting in the fake creature than 3D, at least you
have. What about The Lion King, Clay? How do you feel about that?
That one's bad too. Now I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because that one isn't really a live action.
No, it's another animated movie.
It's all animated.
We could fill a whole hour with that.
We could.
Yeah, I know. But we have to do it every month when you put out another live action remake, Hollywood. This is your fault.
This is one where they took it where they haven't changed enough and it's too recent from the original. That's.
All right, we're getting old, Clay. We got to talk about something else.
All right,
we'll take a look at the trailer for our last movie here, F1 with Brad Pitt.
Let's see that.
See, like straight talk.
Straight and narrow, no sugar.
Why are you here, Sonny? When you look in the mirror, You see this rough and tumble, old school cowboy. Doesn't take orders, goes his own way, huh? A lone wolf. Well, I've news for you. Formula One is a team sport. It always was. Listen, let's get this straight. We all lose our jobs if you can't pull off a miracle.
No pressure.
None.
The only question here is, why did Sonny Hayes come back to F1?
I think it's really wonderful that Apex are giving second chances to the elderly.
It's all right. You're just worried I'm quicker than you.
You're making a mistake, thinking that I'm just gonna be some grateful kid who'll bend the knee to an old timer.
I never should have pulled you into this.
Down the inside, contact!
That's the other driver. You say he was old, he not that old. That's a handsome man right there.
What's he doing?
Plan C, be ready.
Just gotta hope for some lucky breaks. Hope it's not a strategy.
Anything else, Professor?
Try fast. Ever seen a miracle?
Not yet. How do you think I'd feel if you die on the track?
3 laps. 3 laps is a lifetime.
I liked Top Gun Maverick, and this looks to be their next offering. Same team that did it, same director, same writer, and I also like Brad Pitt in like sports movies too. So like I'm kind of into this one.
Yeah.
Got a great supporting cast too. You got Tobias Menzies, Sarah Niles from Ted Lasso, Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name of the woman who was the sister in Banshees of Inisherin, but she's clearly in it as well. I didn't write her name down because I'm a fool.
I forgot to. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve, for the assist. Yeah, I have to once again kind of agree with you. This is giving me a lot of Top Gun Maverick vibes.
Oh, for sure.
The big difference is, of course, this isn't a legacy sequel. It's just its own thing.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, it can have spiritual similarities with
can,
the veteran coming in.
Does,
there's the
does.
younger teammate.
Yeah.
And
It makes me almost want to hope that, like, so if this was successful, that, like, let's do a prequel back when he retroactively do it.
Who would you cast as young Brad Pitt, though?
I don't know, but that's a good. Well, that's a story for another time.
Yes, yeah, we can
I
talk
would
about
love
that
to see
off air.
them try. Let's see what they would do with that. They'd probably just try to digitally de-age. it or
Yeah.
something.
Oh God.
I hope not. That'd be
No.
horrible. There's got to be a young Brad Pitt up there. But anyway, this does look really good. This looks pretty exciting. I'm not a guy who knows a lot about auto racing or anything or F1 really in general.
Yeah.
But in recent years, I've been kind of brought in and kind of seduced into seeing some of these auto racing things, specifically Ford versus Ferrari.
Great movie.
That movie's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Mhm.
And car aficionados love that movie too, by the way. That
Good.
appealed
It's
to
great.
appealed to everyone, and that's a biopic. This one, and there's always occasionally some racing movies that'll come out where you just get some good diehard fans. I think this one could be
Yeah.
the one that does it, just because it just looks like they really did their homework on it, I guess, and got into some of the...
The trailer looks gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, it looks like they took all the lessons from Top Gun Maverick and applied it to a racing movie, which is good because their last racing movie was Tron Legacy, and that was not very good. So, yeah.
But and I've just been reminded recently of just how far we've come with filming racing movies, where how they can put the camera in certain areas. And
I mean,
really
well,
get
just
those shots.
the shrinking of the technology
Yeah.
has made it so much easier to like put the camera places that they could never have put before, even without building out this huge specialized rig. You know,
Make you feel like you're really there.
Yeah,
in
really
the
gives you
theater
that.
with it. So this is probably a good one to actually watch physically in the theater. Yeah, I'm guessing we'll just get that surround sound and just really in your face kind of
Yeah.
stuff. This would be just really, really good event treat to see. So
hopefully,
that's where you're probably gonna want to see it. So I don't have any other big thoughts on it other than that. good. Let's good.
Let's
do
this is exactly the kind of thing we want to see going to the theaters. You know, it doesn't look like it's probably going to be some big Oscar movie, but like it looks like the kind of thing that should be enjoyed on a bigger screen.
Yep.
In a quiet auditorium with a couple friends and some popcorn.
Well, if they're going for, again, summer movies, so they're going for the spectacle.
Yeah.
They want you to see it, and they're promising us some really good, have it crazy.
Edge of your seat thrills.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, maybe a few years from now we talk about this being one of the better racing movies in the genre. It could be. I could come up there and be that. What else do we have besides, of course, we've already mentioned Ford v. Ferrari, which is a classic, but Days of Thunder? Nah, come on, this is...
Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Oh, good point. That's a good one, too.
That's a classic racing movie.
Classic right there. But that's the funny thing is, in some ways, maybe it is the most well-known racing movie. And that's a shame, because it is a parody.
It's a
parody,
comedy. But it's a great parody.
Yeah, it's fan. So let's get the serious version of it again. Let's do this. And this is what we want. I'm pretty excited about this.
Me too. I might actually. I might actually see this one. I don't see anything, but I'll see it eventually. I got too many kids to get to the theater.
Well, it'll probably end up being it's one of those movies. It's the dad film too. It'll become your dad's favorite film.
Oh, maybe I'll go see with my dad. My dad's gonna be here around then. Yeah.
There you go. Now
I'll go with my dad. That'll be a good excuse to go to the theater. The thunderstorm or something. I'll take my dad to go see F1.
Good idea.
All right, so Steven, you got some trivia for us?
Yep, we've got our Dune trivia.
He's gonna stump us. He always does.
Make us look like fools.
I think you might get one or two.
I might get one or two. Okay, that's optimistic, I think.
All right, let's go to the next slide. What is the name of the real-life robot featured in the Megan 2.0 trailer? I don't know if you saw the full trailer, so maybe I didn't.
No, there was a real-life robot in there?
Was it Miko?
No.
Dang it.
I missed it. I didn't.
Okay, you can go. It's Moxie. Moxie was discontinued last year, but is going to be featured in Megan 2.0.
My kid has like a little robot thing, and it's called a Miko. That's why I was like, is that it? Is it a Miko?
Don't know what that is. I'm too old.
Yeah, they've got all these little like AI assistants for kids nowadays.
Well, there you go.
They tell them stories. They just search Google.
You got Moxie, kid.
Yeah.
That's where they get it from.
All right. Life of Chuck is based on a short story in what collection of Stephen King's stories?
What was the collection that you said the other two in?
Yeah, it was not that one.
Dang it!
Because that one was different seasons.
This is a fairly new
book.
book.
One of the newer ones. Let me think here. What are he's got because he brings out a new...
I don't know any King, so I'm out on this one.
I think here.
Is it Pet Cemetery?
No.
That's all I got.
It'd be in a collection of one of his...
No, I know.
One of the newer ones. I guess it could be Everything's Eventual, but I'm probably guessing it's a newer version.
Much newer than that.
All Dark, No Stars?
Nope. We'll show
on that one.
What do we got here?
It is If It Bleeds.
From If It Bleeds, that is a new one.
Is he stealing Predator lines? Is that what that is?
I'm not sure. Well, the fact
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Well, the fact that there's a cat on the cover tells me maybe we weren't that far off with their Pet Cemetery.
Honestly, I saw him work on this earlier, and I saw the cat, and I was like, I got nothing.
I haven't been able to. That's the thing. King, he's very prolific, so even with his short works, he can get these big anthologies together.
He was like, don't look, you're going to get it. I was like, I guarantee you, if it's a Stephen King one, I'm not going to get it.
I haven't read any of it, If It Bleeds yet, but maybe I'll have to now if Life of Chuck's in there. So.
Yeah.
Did you spoil it already?
He did, but we would have gotten that one.
That's okay. We'll do it anyway. What kind of dragon is toothless in the film? Would you have known?
I saw it. I have no idea because I'm not.
He's a Night Fury.
Fury.
Or an Alpha.
That's the one I knew you'd get.
Yeah, I knew that one. I've seen that movie too many times.
All right. So here in this still here, Elio's cell phone case is a reference to a Pixar shorts. Oh. What is the Pixar shorts?
Oh gosh.
Looks like
I'm gonna say, just because I know that the director also directed Bao. Is it that?
It is not Bao.
Dang it!
You can show him. It is Burrow. So close.
Burrow. Dang it!
I don't know that one.
It looks cute. I've never seen it either.
I'm not doing good here.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any of these. Oh no, we got Night Fury. That's it.
All right.
This will be the second film scored by Hans Zimmer featuring Formula One racing. What was the first? You guys have mentioned so many racing films, and you still have not said the answer.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, I think I might have an idea, but I cannot remember the name of the movie.
There was a movie that had Chris Helmsworth in it not too long ago.
Oh yes, with the other gentleman from Avengers.
There's a racing film that was kind of had a cult following, but I can't remember what the name of that movie was.
Oh yes.
I think it was just kind of a racing style one. I mean, if we weren't watching it, what about a movie called F1? It was probably Formula One. They just did the full thing. Maybe I don't remember.
I don't remember what it was called.
I
think I know what you're talking about.
I think there was a movie called Formula One actually before this. That's why they probably are abbreviating this one, calling it F1. But that would be. Was there another movie called Formula One at one time?
I don't know. That's not the answer.
Dang it! What's the answer?
We'll show you. It's Rush.
Rush! You were right on the movie
title.
title.
That was the one I was thinking of, but I couldn't remember its name. I knew Hemsworth was in
Hemsworth, and then the guy from Civil War.
Yep.
Yes, Baron von Zemo.
Oh,
Baron
sure,
Zemo.
sure.
The guy, he was in Inglourious Bastards too.
Yeah, he's a great one. I have never seen Rush, but there are fans of it.
That one's a biopic, right? It's about a guy. That's about a true story. I think.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's about a true story.
I just know there are a lot of cult fans of this Rush actually. So
let's switch back. Oh, we have one more. The 28 Days Later trailer featured a poem. You thought it was a song.
It's a poem. That's why.
What is it called, and who is it by?
I mean, I know. I just saw the answer, but it was who I was going to say anyway, because I love Rudyard Kipling. So
the Kipling one. Should have known.
It is Rudyard
Boots by Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Kipling guy.
Well, yeah, I gotta have a.
There you go. You got two. You got two right today.
Yeah.
Stinking it up. I'm sorry.
I mean, but they were cheap ones because you showed us the answers beforehand.
I didn't.
I'm saying I would have gotten them both, and I feel like a jerk because I probably would have, but also like,
We'll find out. All right. Oh, next time.
Yes, next time. So what do we got coming up for screenings in June in terms of New Ulm Film Society? Yes.
New Ulm Film Society is continuing its baseball series here, and we're into our second.
You gonna get anyone else into the Hall of Fame this week, or
find out? That was so cool. What are the odds? But no, I don't know if that'll happen because this one we're pure fictional now. We're gonna be screening The Natural on the 10th here, I believe, and of course that is got Robert Redford in there, and most of the film is set in 1939, so we're jumping up there a decade from our previous film, and it is based on a book of the same name. Although it's one of those times where they've adapted the book, but they changed enough so that people are like, "Whoa!" They're totally different tones for both.
Interesting.
Although there is arguments that people like the movie version better than the book, actually. So.
Well, that's because people don't like to read, Clay.
That could be. Although I did read one trivia fact that the author of the book, after the movie came out, his one response was, "Well, they made me a legitimate writer then." You know? He says that he didn't have too much of a problem with their changes.
Good.
The sound of it. So,
yeah.
But the other thing that's really popular about The Natural that people love is it's always remembered for its cinematography. Actually, it has some of the better cinematography of all time on there, and. I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the last few scenes of the movie is very well remembered and has been used so many other times. And actually, Major League Baseball will sometimes steal segments from this movie and show them in when they're doing clips, because it's just like, that's basically what happened here.
Yep.
It's one of those. That was kind of one of the other fun trivia things about The Natural. Like, they're trying to really just kind of almost exaggerate baseball as it was and just make it into something bigger. And then they took all these.
I mean, that's what the best stories do.
I know, they do. But the funny thing is, some of the stuff that happens in The Natural, it was fictional. It didn't really happen. But then some parts of it kind of came true later, is the weird thing. It's just so bizarre.
I mean, baseball is one of those things that's been around for so long. Just like every possible thing that you can think of happening in a game has happened at some point or time.
Well, yeah, that was...
except a dog playing third base.
That's just ridiculous. Dog can't play baseball. We know that. Come on, that's just absurd.
It's not in the rule book, Clay.
Well, we'll get into it. When we do our Air Buds.
We do our Air Buds series. Yeah.
We'll discuss that more in detail.
Wasn't it a chimp in
there was a chimp
one.
There was a chimp. They had most valuable primate.
That's it. Yeah.
And I never saw it because I have some taste.
You have some standards, yeah.
I have some respect for myself, but that's something else entirely. But yeah, the natural classic, one of the great Robert Redford was just classic for almost every movie he was in is a period piece. I was going to say, but
I mean, 3 Days of the Condor was contemporary, right?
Yeah, I think that might have been. There's a few other ones, but it's just. But we can see. You want to see Robert Redford play baseball in 1939? Is he too old to play for the team? Let's find out here. Yeah. Pretty entertaining stuff, and we'll follow that up with some more of them. I'm trying to remember what we'll have, which ones.
Well, we can talk about that next month.
We'll worry about that next month here.
All right. Well, that's it for today from Nuff Said. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
Go see a movie.